Why don't you look at me? I'm tired of being the invisible man. The invisible man. Oh, the invisible man.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to The Invisible Man. Our special guests are going to be the Beatles via video format, obviously, because a couple of them are no longer with us. Of course, no live guest in the studio, but I'm here with my wonderful co-hosts, the wonderful Colorado Phil. Say hi, Phil.
Woo!
There we go.
Hi.
That was more of a woo hi. Okay, great. And Ryan, do you want to introduce me and you?
Woo-hi. Wasn't that the place that got us all into trouble in the first place?
Yeah. That's a virology lab.
Yeah, something like that.
Woo-hi.
But our introduction is normal. Over to that side of the camera, I believe. I've probably got that wrong. Is Mark David Stallard, and he uses his middle name, even though he doesn't have to.
And of course, the guy who was just talking is Ryan Janz. His middle name is also David, but he doesn't use it, even though he should. And we are. It's all in the mind.
It's all fine. Well, good. I'm going to count it up the lag for that. But,
I kind of feel left out. My middle name's not David.
Yeah.
We'll get you. Yeah.
But you're
fine.
special in a different way, though, Phil.
I'm still tripping on the automatic caption.
Oh.
Remember that? That is distracting.
That's pretty good, actually. So we do actually have a couple of people joining us here already. They're patiently waiting for us in our as the show is coming up. We have Danny Penner, a good friend of mine, one of my closest friends, older brothers, and obviously I know him well. Welcome to the show, Danny. And also my wonderful wife, Jessica, has joined us. And interesting tidbit, today is our 5th wedding anniversry today.
Ooh, happy anniversary.
And you couldn't be celebrating with the two more deserving guys. Congratulations. And of course, we have Pauline Santora has joined us as well. So hi, Pauline. So today is going to be a little bit of a chaos moment. We usually, what we try and plan for is a few, 20 minutes, half an hour with our guests, and then Phil takes over, and we have what we call Phil's free for all, and that's pretty much going to be a free for all with the Beatles popping in and out. And so we're not going to wait 20 minutes before we do Phil's title sequence. We're going to do it right now.
Oopsies, I skipped ahead just a little bit there. No retakes, no redos.
There we go. Okay, so I thought we got like three clips of the Beatles. Just want to let you know what you're letting yourself in for. It's something that they recorded for us, I think, just a few months ago. The Beatles recorded this for us a few months ago. So let's get started with that. And then we're going to talk about all kinds of crazy things. Here we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Fab Four. We really appreciate being invited to be on stage with us all in the mind again. The Invisible Man Show is a fab video podcast. What's a podcast? It sounds so futuristic. I like that new bloke, Colorado Phil. He's fab too. I think this show could be a big hit. Number 1. What do you think, John? Number 9. Yeah, you're probably right. I love those guys. Anyhow, so coming up in probably about 20 minutes or so, we'll have Ryan actually interviewed the Beatles. Those wonderful guys, and that was probably about 5 years ago. And it was a lot of fun doing that. And then we actually performed, or they performed on stage. They backed up. They were our backing band on Flesh and Blood, which we'll play at the end. So hanging around, lots of good stuff to come. So
going back to that little cartoon of myself, man, I had a nice beard.
Indeed,
it worked. It really worked.
Yeah, you and Ryan are a bit of a nightmare when it comes to animating because you all keep changing your facial hairstyles.
Hey,
No, wait a minute. Yeah, no. Wait a minute. I would also like to point out to the jury and the judge here that somebody changed their hairstyle not too recently. and that would be Mark.
Could you notice?
So for all the hump of trouble he's been giving me over the years, the me shaving and having different facial hairstyles, I can now kind of rub it back in his face and saying, "Hey, man, you had a nice coif last time I saw you."
Well, not sure.
Now
It was
you're
coif.
high and tight.
I'm not sure coif's the right description. It was more like a big, huge spider. So I got tired of the COVID flow and decided to go with the COVID crop.
Did you do that with a flow bee?
It could have been, but I couldn't find any.
Man.
Although it did take me this long. When did I start complaining about my hair? It was like 3-4 weeks ago. Only now has I been able to find clippers at Canadian Tire. Everyone else has been sold out. Who knew this was going to be the thing that you wouldn't be able to get? Toilet paper, I had loads of, but no clippers.
Yeast, you can't find yeast to save your life.
So there you go. So and once
Really?
in 10. So Ryan,
Colorado,
once in 10
you
years.
can't find any kind of yeast at all?
It's very hard to find that.
No, it is.
We haven't come across it yet.
Yeah. Well,
No, is that because people want to make bread, or is that because people want to make beer?
No, well, maybe both.
No,
I don't know.
Probably bread. It's a different yeast.
I know. I heard.
I was out looking for
people
it as well.
talking on CGOB out of Winnipeg there, and the lady said she couldn't find yeast either.
Yep. Yeast and flour. Who knew?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Those things that we actually need to make food. Now
Right.
we can't get.
Yeah.
Right
I
on.
wish I could. Is there a way I can tag people? No.
Well, probably.
That's probably a question for after the show.
We actually
or
have
before.
someone joining us here in the on our watch party. The wonderful and talented Carrie Luce Forsyth
Yo,
Where is she?
of Load is joined. And actually, now, just as I was mentioning that, one of my coworkers, Alyssa Strachan, actually is ready to almost pretty much ready to have her baby. Thanks for joining us, Alyssa. Stay safe out there, everybody. Glad you could be here and join us today. Mark, that clip I had sent to you. Can we cue that up pretty quickly there?
We certainly can, but we'll have to go into the theater for that. There we go.
Okay, well, head on into the theater. This is something I stumbled across the other day, and both my wife and I have just uproariously laughed at this. A little bit of we've all had seen the musical balconies. Well, this is what happens when the musical balcony kind of goes wrong.
Oh, that never gets old, does it? That doesn't.
Now, you see, that would be something. I would be the guy responding back. I'd be the guy going.
But at least you would come up
And of
with.
course,
Here at 8:00 each evening, they were going outside and howling.
like
For
howling
real.
like
At 8:00 howling. Yeah. They did it for a while, and the last few nights we listened in, and there's a few still doing it, not as many, but yeah, it was a big thing. When they were doing it at its peak, I could hear it through the bathroom vent. It sounded so weird.
And that was just because. Just something to do.
Yeah. And I guess Italy, was it Italy or somewhere else? They were singing each evening and stuff like that.
Well, in Italy, they were getting like opera singers to sing from there, and like high end singers, and actually trying to boost morale and all that kind of stuff. But here we got a lady who's singing a bit out of the Frozen movies, and some jackass who's just responding back. But if you watch that, and if you go watch that, and maybe what we'll do is we'll post the link to that if you haven't seen it already. We'll post the link with the show in the comments or something like that, and you can see as she walks out there, she's all proud of herself because and you can hear she's actually got some musical talent there, and she's just all proud of herself. Nice echo reverberation, and then some jerk just totally goes into
Oh, there's that article. Okay. Yeah. I was going to ask you guys, since we're talking about comedic relief, have you guys seen the lady on Facebook reading a children's book that she says she ordered. And it's called Brenda's Beaver Needs a Barber. Have you seen that? It is so fucking... Now your wife's going to be mad at you, Ryan, on your anniversary. I swore. I'll see if I can grab this link and put it in the comments to our video.
The people that I associate with. Oh my God.
Well, it's a children's book. Seriously, you've got to see that. I want to see if I can put it in the comments to our episode here.
Well, there was one that I saw a while back, and I think someone took a picture of like a Sesame Street book, but it said Elmo Experiments, and it's got a picture of Elmo standing like right behind like Grover, and Grover's like taking off his overalls, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Oh yeah, no, I highly recommend it. It's a fun like I think it's a 3.5 minute telling that you guys know how Tazzy reads to the children.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So this is a children's book. It's just like, I'm too slow to really come up with any of the bits from it, but it is hilarious. Like I had tears going down my face, and my gut hurt. I think half of it is how she tells it, but also the fact that it's a children's book. And these ladies have their beavers with different haircuts. That's about as far as I want to go on that.
Yeah, please do.
I'm going to start a watch party.
Okay.
I'm going to put it back on my page.
I'm mature. I am honest. Oh.
It's on my personal page now, Phil Dupuis. And I'll put it on the show page too, but
yeah, don't send it my way. I can add it up. Oh, add it up. Now, while we're talking about kids' books, there's a great book that's for sale right now. It's called A Fighting Stance, written by Mark David Stallard. It's a kids' book based on my childhood experiences. Available now for ebook and hard copy. You can find it. It's on Lulu. Easiest way to get there is books.mdstallard.com. There you go. Buy one. They're great. Anyhow. Had to squeeze that in.
Who's MD Stallard? What?
That's me, a dumbass.
Right.
I wrote that.
I was looking to the side.
Here we go. Yeah. Anyhow. Then you can read the back. Yeah. There we go. So check that out. Now, back on topic. Silly books, I guess. This wasn't planned anyway by everybody, by the way. But I do recall a book that I never did read to my kids, but it's been out for many years. There's an audio book that's recorded, and you can find it on YouTube. Samuel L. Jackson, and I forget who wrote the book, but the book is called "Go the Fuck to Sleep." And it is brilliant.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah, and it's really funny when he's like, "Yes, I do love you." Now go. Anyway, that's funny.
I remember from the Beaver book. She stuffed it in a swimming suit and had her beaver on the beach soaking up the sun. And they had a picture. But it's her friends that approached her in the story. It's her friends that approach her and say, "You know what? Your beaver is out of control and it needs a makeover, and let us help you with that."
When was this book written?
I don't know.
I'm guessing before the Me Too era.
Oh, there it is. There she showed it. It was on the beach.
I'm not gonna. I don't want to Google it. Can you?
You can see it on my page. No, it's funny because she. When she gets to a certain point where it's really funny, that she'll show the picture like in the book. Like, I'm not even kidding this. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I think that's a sign that things are so stressful when you can find that so humorous. It's got 11. No, it's got 1.1. It's got 1,148,000 views. As far as I know, she could be a professional comedian. I don't know. Just anybody wants to see that. You'll feel better after it.
No. I'm in the wrong place. All right. Yes, isn't that great? So back on topic. Do we have a topic?
I don't think we haven't got one today.
Oh, I can actually hear it. Okay, hang on, guys. Let me see now. I'll tell you one of the next things she's. Oh yeah, that one I won't try. It's too dirty. It's not dirty. It's a kid's book, but
yes, sure it is.
About her friend's beaver. She shaved it with a long furry strip in the middle. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Hold on, guys. Hang on. Chrissy's beaver is quite rare.
Oh, Lord.
It could be worth $1 million. Oh, hang on. Here's the best part. Hers is bare. It has no hair. Her beaver must be a Brazilian.
I'm thinking this isn't a real kid's book.
Oh, it is. The pictures are there. I'm telling you.
I think this is done in the style of a kid's illustrated book.
Maybe. I don't know. I'd read it to a kid if I could not laugh while I say it. But.
Oh, young enough. Yeah.
Well,
I used to let my kids watch the Austin Powers shows, and it was fine because they would Fat Bastard would come on and they would call him Fat Bassa, and it was fine. And it was only once they started to realise, hang on a minute, his name's Fat Bastard, and they kept saying, okay, well, I got to stop you watching this for a little while. But yes. So Elmo Experiments, Ryan, what's that about?
That's the one we were talking about. They just sent it to our group chat. We can post it on. But when in the fame or the theme of strange children's books, it just seemed like, well, if we're gonna go, if I'm going down, I'm taking you guys with me.
I'm actually gonna Google this thing, see what comes up with it. You guys talk amongst yourselves.
All right, Mark. I think now might be a good idea to show that interview that we did with the Beatles, or I did with the Beatles, to try and redeem myself now.
Yes, the one that I wasn't happy. Okay, so
I have I have the info on the book. It's a real book, you guys.
Yep. Okay.
It says it is the 5th of 5 books that make up season 1. Can you imagine? Spank the Monkey lends a hand. That's another one.
I have a pretty strong suspicion that this is the target audience.
It's for the parents more. Another book is called "Come Swing with Us." Would you like to play? Oh, here's another one. Would you like to play with my ass? And the picture is a girl. She's sitting on a donkey. Perfectly all right.
Yeah, as long as you're talking about a donkey, right?
Yeah.
There's another one called "Do you want to play with my balls?" What? There's one with a chicken on the cover. Oh my God! It's called "Show Me Your Cock," and it's $4. Can you imagine? Happy anniversary, Ryan. Now your wife's gonna be mad at me.
Well, now you have something interesting to reach your daughter, Ryan.
That's never gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
Okay. All right.
It would be just awkward and odd if she read those when she's like 18, 19, or 20, when she's old enough to appreciate the humor. To be reading that to be like, great. That's just
no, because it'll actually just suddenly kick in too. It'll be all normal and fine, and then suddenly someone will go, hang on a minute, and then she'll wake up. She'll probably be about 12, and you go, hang on a minute.
Then she'll need therapy.
Yes, lots of it.
Yeah,
lots of it.
Oh, there's one I missed here. What's it say? My smelly ass And it's got a picture of a donkey with teeth missing and all that. I probably won't be allowed to get my grandsons any books.
Probably safe bet.
Say, hey, bring this to the daycare, man. Spank the monkey, lends a hand.
That's right. Indeed. All right. Okay. Let's add a bit let's add a bit of seriousness to this show.
Hey, I thought Carrie Luce was coming up.
Yeah, she hasn't commented anything. I don't know if she's still
she probably thinks we're immature.
You should send her.
And she'd be
a
absolutely
link.
right. All right on that. Anyway. Okay, so
Mark David, you should send her a link.
She has the link. Obviously,
she has the link to jump in.
Oh, not to jump in. Oh, hey, did you want to jump in, Luce? To see if she's there. Yeah, just send me a note. Well, I'll send you a link.
Yeah, Luce, if you're interested at all, send Mark a message on Facebook. He'll send you a link.
We'll bring
talk about children's books. We'll talk about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get down to the Beatles. We're about 20 minutes or so in.
Okay.
Or half an hour in, actually. Ooh, we were going for a while there. We made that last a long time. Okay, so about
I did my book review, so.
Yeah, so about 5 years ago, Ryan and I worked on this project called It's All in the Mind Opens 4, and it was the original idea was that we were going to have this music show on short open access. That was, and so I wrote a proposal for it, and I thought while I'm waiting, while I was doing that, I'll do a cartoon version of it, a little tongue in cheek, and we did this show called It's All in the Mind Opens 4, where it would play a song, would interview the guests, and then the guests would play a set. And so we did this one with the Beatles, and we had a hell of a lot of fun recording the vocals for it, as I recall, Ryan. And in fact, I would often, in the past, you would have seen me introduce Ryan as Bassman, and that was actually something that came out of that cartoon, the original show. Anyhow, this is the segment of the show that Ryan, against my wishes, interviewed the Beatles without me. Okay, so here we go.
Well, it's finally time to meet tonight's headliners. They are, of course, John, Paul, George, and Ringo, the Beatles. Welcome, gentlemen. How did you find America?
Turned left of green. But didn't Columbo find it? You mean Columbus, like? No, Columbo. All good names end with an O.
Ringo, why did you guys call yourselves the Beatles?
I don't know. I wasn't in the group when they named it.
That's right. You replaced Pete Best. Did you guys ever hear from him?
Who? I don't know. Number 9.
So, gentlemen, has success changed you?
Yes, we didn't used to be cartoons. At one point, we were real, flesh and blood. Oh, that would make a great song title.
Yes, it already is a great song title. So, what are your plans for the future?
We thought we'd play a few songs, unless you've changed your mind. Number 9.
I think that's a really great idea. It was really good to meet you, fellas. Can't wait to see your show.
Oh, there you are. We're ready for the interview. If you guys can come into the studio and... You interviewed them already? That's my bit. I'm supposed to do the interview. I can't believe you did that. You know full well I've been waiting my entire life to interview this guy. I never thought I'd have the chance, but now... Oh, come on. And I still haven't forgiven Ryan for that. You bastard! That was supposed to be mine!
One of my better interviews, I can tell you that right then. Back in the days when I was trying to be a serious performer. And,
yeah, indeed. Yeah. And
you were.
I really can't blame you too much. I did write the script. Anyhow.
Yeah, I did prepare it. I remember I put about as much effort in as I normally do for the rest of our shows.
Yeah. Anyhow. So there you go. Yeah, so we have one more clip coming up at the end of the show. Beatles will be playing along with Brian and I on adding some harmonies on Flesh and Blood at the end. So well worth listening to. A great song, even if we say so ourselves.
And just keep an eye out for some really wacky dance moves by one of our collaborators there. I just remember that that song had some wacky dance moves. I think John was doing some weird dance moves in that.
No, you've imagined that. No, the animation's actually pretty basic, but I knew. But they're bobbing up and down and doing the Beatles thing.
Doing some pretty wacky moves on it there, man. Oh well.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since you've seen it.
5
Anyhow.
years. 5 years.
Anyhow,
I got married and kid in that time. So
sorry.
And it's been 5 years. So if I was 5 years ago, I got married and had a kid in that
It would
time.
have been right before that, I guess. Yeah. Oh, and if anyone is interested, Shaw, I did send the proposal. I followed up with them. Shaw did not. Even this is public access. They weren't going to pay anything. We had about 10 bands lined up to be on the show with us, and I heard nothing from them. They wouldn't even acknowledge I sent them anything. So anyhow, that ended up just being the Germ. That became the Invisible Man. So this came out of that. And we're a lot less cartoony now. Well, to look at, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Since I shaved my face, yeah, never mind.
You're looking very youthful there, Phil. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, now
It's the opposite is what I usually like. I usually like to shave the top of my head, the whole head, and leave a nice beard growing there, but I didn't because of COVID and face masks and stuff. I shaved my face, and then I saw myself bald on my face and on top of my head. And I thought, that is way too much baldness going on there. So just growing the hair for now.
Yep. Well, you could do a rind and just grow a goatee. Just keep it trimmed.
Right.
If you like. But,
I was actually originally slated to be traveling this next week, and just due to some circumstances with the virus, I'm now no longer traveling. So I was going to be doing. Get this, Phil. I potentially would have been doing a show from Flin Flon.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So and now that's obviously not just a that's not an issue, but yeah, I would have been actually completely clean shaven because the work site that we would have had to go to it requires everybody to be clean shaven and have a fit test for a respirator, and it's like it's a serious thing. So I would have been absolutely baby faced.
Actually, so the reason it was canceled, is it because of that new thing the government came out with about trying to keep the North free of the COVID?
No, it actually had more to do with some internal family stuff. We have potential exposure within our family, so I have to stay home until we have results back from a test.
So there could be some more impromptu shows down the road. It could be next week, maybe.
I could be having some more. There could be, very well could be. So, but yeah. It's a mindset. So even without COVID-19, we would have had to have had respirators and all that stuff like that, because there's like actual gas and particulates in the air that could harm you. So it would have been something. And I wouldn't have been so much baby face. I probably would have been smooth skin. But there's a reason I sport a beard all the time is I hate shaving, because down here I get like the worst razor burn.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
I don't want to know that.
Yeah, no, it's bad. It's horrible. And I would have looked kind of zombie-ish. People would have been like, what happened to COVID? COVID's the new T-cell virus. We're all going to die zombies. I would have looked terrible. So,
yeah, I just want to shout out Shalim has actually been with us for about 15 minutes or so, give or take, maybe from the beginning. Didn't show up on my feed until I went looking. Anyway, so hi Shalim, thanks for joining us again. Yep. So there was apparently he looked up the beaver vid. Hopefully you didn't. Hopefully you found the children's book and not something else. Anyhow.
Right. I still say, I could go on and on about that book, but
I'm sure you could.
Yeah, but
I could probably write my own damn book by now.
Yeah, makes you think. Anyhow,
the double entendre. There you go.
Okay, now.
Well, I kind of like that other one I found too. Somebody will buy it for me. I don't know. Spank the Monkey Lends a Hand. Reach around books.
I missed that first time around. Yeah. Okay. Anyhow, right. Lay. So this week, was it this week? I think it was. We got some news that some leaked videos that came out about UFOs were actually real. So the UFOs are real.
They are.
So I don't know if anyone saw that, but anyway, we're just going to kind of switch pace a little bit, and I'm sure we'll go back to silly children's books almost immediately. But here we go. So here's a couple of the videos anyway that came out. So Ooh, look at that. This means something. So this is actually real footage that was shot in about 2015, I think it was. And it was
Is the audio with it?
Not on this one.
No.
There were 3. So that's the first one, and then we got the. Here we go. Audio on this one.
Dude, there's a on, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
What's that noise, huh?
That's
not our LNS though, is it? It's not. That is an LNS, dude. Well, if there's like... Look at that thing.
Look at it, man. Just look at that.
There we go. Yeah, that the hiss was actually because that was the audio on the plane as they were talking there through the the comms, whatever. Yeah. And then there was a third one, which was very similar.
But you know, like a. Ooh, what's this one?
What you said?
Nickel 6-1 Tango Logic.
There's one.
Oh, got it! Roger. There's troubleshooting. Did you box moving target? No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at that, man.
So there you go.
Ground control to Major Tom. Hey, isn't that what I like about those? Well, I saw those videos. I don't know when they say they first came out. I don't see it here in the article, but I saw that when it first came out, and you could tell by the emotion in the pilots' voices that they've seen something that they've never seen before and can't explain, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying before we started the show, how disappointing is 2020? Oh my God, I had all these ideas of how 2020 would be. Not one of them is going to come to fruition. Top of the list was hoping to get full disclosure. But like I've seen some of the memes too regarding the pandemic, and we can barely handle that. So I can't imagine how people would have reacted to a full disclosure of alien presence or whatever. But man, to have all the garbage we've had all year till this point, when they released those videos this week, and then I was like, oh, that's underwhelming. I thought they would at least put a little more fanfare into it, but it's like they just put it out there real quick without much comment on it. Just put it out there just to put it out there.
Yeah. So what I just read a couple of articles there, and it was they had these 3 videos have been leaked already, and it was just to confirm. They're just confirmed. Yeah, this is real footage.
Yeah.
And now, if there are any naysayers saying that's not a picture of a UFO, let's put this to rest. So they don't know what it was. It was going through the air, and it was a thing. It was an unidentified flying object, by definition. So yeah, they're not saying it's alien, but it's definitely unidentified. It was definitely flying. It was definitely.
Man, my hair is bad enough today. I could tell you it's aliens.
Who knows? I think it was the second one where it looked like a saucer. I think that would be quite easy for me to. That would be quite easy for me to animate because it didn't change very much, and the other 2 were very small. You can't really quite make out what it was, but
fast.
It was.
Well, the first one was really reacting a lot. It almost, you could see that it was reacting, counter-reacting, because you can see that the one line that's sort of in the middle there, that's the pilot's artificial horizon, right? So as it's kind of going like this, it's telling him that, oh, this is how many degrees you are, right? As one's changing, as he's changing his pitch and his yaw and flying, doing his course corrections, it's sort of staying in front of him and making those same ones. The second and third one are really small. It's hard to say what exactly those things are because they're so small to me. But that one had a lot of like reflected sunlight into it, right? And yeah, you're right, Mark. By definition, it is an unidentified flying object. Whether it's alien in nature, that's a different story. Now, I'm guessing that Phil, you're all pro for the aliens, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right on.
Although at this point, if they haven't come to us with a damn cure for the pandemic, I don't know why. But
well,
maybe they're worried. Maybe
their doctors might not have a clue because it'll be alien physiology.
Maybe they don't want to get anywhere near us. They're staying 6 million miles from the planet. Safe distancing.
Actually, can reptiles get this flu? Because I think it may just be mammals. So that'd be interesting to find out.
Cause a real reptile dysfunction there.
The reptile aliens would not, would not have a clue how to treat it. Just saying. It's not that doesn't disprove anything.
Is that part of the lizard man conspiracy now?
Possibly. Why not?
So
yeah.
We crossed over into that territory right now, the lizard man.
And it's also they would be breaking the Prime Directive if they did interfere. Right?
Very good.
But here's the thing, though: they can't break the Prime Directive if, and work with me here, if the aliens are not aliens to us. That we are the aliens, in other words.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that? I've heard that before. It makes sense to me. I don't know.
But it's silly. Just because you're the other to someone else, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to be the other.
That's correct.
Regardless. But Star Trek's real. Just in case anyone was wondering, and the Prime Directive is going to be true. It's going to be true. Okay, Shalim actually has some comments. There's a few here. So he said, there was a student at work talk about a UFO sighting in Nova Scotia a few years ago. A military plane encountered it. The INT officer, I'm not sure what the INT officer is, but on the ground tried to suggest it was a drone, but it wasn't, and the footage was confiscated. Sorry. Conspiracy. Now, and he goes on. Tom DeLonge featured his footage on his TV show from last year. About 2 weeks after the show started, he showed up outside Shalim's office, scouting a location for a film shoot. Which is kind of the film was called Monsters of California. I guess anyone will want to look it up. And he says, watch the episode of Joe Rogan with the pilot interviewed. Commander Fravor, actually. It's episode 1361 from last October. If anyone's interested, thanks for showing that. So I had a UFO experience when I was young, early mid-teens maybe, probably early teens even. I remember standing outside my friend's house with his mum, and the three of us were standing there, looking out into the clear night sky, which wasn't at the time was a rare thing because it usually rains in England, right? It's cloudy and miserable, and there was a spark in the sky, like it could have been a star, but a bit bigger and a lot brighter, and it moved sideways and moved this way, and it never really came close, and it kind of just faded. I'm not sure if we just lost interest and walked away. It could have been a helicopter, but at the time we were convinced it was a UFO. There you go.
Yeah, and it was like a pinpoint of a star, right?
Yeah, it looked like a big star.
Well, the one that I saw was like that. That's how it started, and except the pinpoint got all of a sudden, like rather quickly, and it was like you could almost imagine somebody turning a dial, right? The pinpoint became just a little bit bigger in the sky, and then all of a sudden, it did the best way I can describe it. It did a swoosh, right? Swoosh, as if it turned around, or I don't know what, but anyway, it did a swoosh, and it shrank back down to the size of a pinpoint of a star, and then disappeared. And my ex and I, we were both like speechless. Mm-hmm. Because not every day you see a star come to you. Yeah. And then it actually changes direction that you can see it.
Yeah.
Just craziness. But
indeed.
Not as crazy as when I died, I guess. I don't know.
Yes, that was pretty crazy. But let's not blame aliens for that.
Although
you never know.
That was Jeebus.
Yes, right. Baby Jeebus.
Jeebus was trying to call the sheep.
Thank you, Jeebus.
Yeah, thank you, Jeebus.
Well, we're grateful to Jeebus anyway to have you with us, Phil.
Totally.
Did you have any UFO experience, Ryan?
No, not really. I kind of remember once. I guess the closest thing it would be a. I probably remember about 18 years old. I was still living at home with my parents, and I had like a second floor room, and I was looking out the window because I was contemplating the fact that I could actually see the office tower that I worked in. I had interned and then got a summer job at this company called Convergys, which every good Manitoban apparently worked at some point in time.
Has been forced to work at.
What's that?
Has been forced to work at, not willingly, not willingly.
Forced to or worked at or whatever, right? And I was looking out there, and from my parents' house in North Kildonan, I could see it was a very clear night, and I could just see the outline of the Trizac building, 360 Main, because that's where this was located. And as I kind of looked at, I was actually kind of depressed because, like, man, I like, if I can see them, can they see me? Like, you know, obviously just like they couldn't, right? But and then all of a sudden I'm looking up and there was like 3 small dots like in a triangle that just went flying right across the sky. And what struck me is there was no sound and no like, 'cause you think it's going to be like a plane or something like that, but given its relative location, its height and whatever, and it's like, oh well, I wonder if that was a UFO. But I was like, but it was in between like my place and downtown, my parents' place in downtown, and it just seemed really strange. Yeah, it just seemed really odd. I probably considered it for about 15 minutes, and I was like, oh well, I'm supposed to go meet my buddy Rob, and we're gonna go, you know, because this is back in the young 18-year-old Ryan days, party at the bar. So I probably didn't give it much thought after that, and or we talked about it. We probably talked about it in the car ride to the bar, and then probably about a pint in. That was it. It was not to be talked. Yeah. We weren't thinking about it. So that's about the closest I've ever had to it. I think for me to qualify it as aliens, I would almost argue, I would almost say that I doubt it's aliens. It's probably some kind of very super secret, because we do have an Air Force base here in Winnipeg. Most of the stuff is probably really high tech, commissioned by various governments, not just like our own or North American governments, but it could be any government across the world, right, that makes these kind of things. But like, if you think about it, and I'm not disputing the potential for life to occur somewhere else in the galaxy. It seems that it's very possible. But when you think about it, there's a thing called the Drake equation, which is it just sort of calculates the probabilities. And the Drake equation is actually just a bunch of letters, but they represent different numbers. But it's the number of civilizations in our galaxy, which is the average rate of star formation in the galaxy, times the fraction of those stars that have planets, times the number of the planets that can potentially support life per star that has planets, the fraction of the planets that can support life that actually develops at some point, the fraction of the planets with life that actually go on to develop intelligent life, times the fraction of the civilization that brings that will develop technology that releases detectable signs of existence into space, times the length of time in which these two civilizations release those detectable signals into space. And just that kind of sort of like that becomes a very, very improbable number, not in the fact that the life is there, but just in the fact that, okay, so the closest star to us takes 4 years at the speed of light for us to see what happens. Something that's much further away, we're talking millions, if not billions of years for that those signals interact. That's an extremely incredible amount of distance. It's a distance, like, a number wouldn't even make sense to most humans, right? And now all of a sudden I find it hard that a sentient beings that would be able to travel halfway across the galaxy in hours or days or even months or even years, if they've gotten the ability to travel halfway across the galaxy in just a matter of years, that they would come here and try, and it would almost be impossible to keep them not detectable, right? So
and also,
but they hide behind the moon.
They hide behind the moon?
Because we only see one side of the moon, so they hide on the dark side.
Yeah, we send probes on the other side of the moon.
Well, they probably cloak themselves. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Cloaking technology has
actually,
come a long way.
Now the odds.
It's the Big Bang Theory.
Okay, now the odds of us. One of the I don't know if you touched on this specifically, but one of the odds is that we've been on this planet as human beings, not me personally, but as human beings, that where we've had the capability of detecting radio waves, let alone broadcasting, and that's really only been less than 200 years.
Yeah, maybe even? 200 years. We'll call it 200 years.
Yeah, so 200 years, and we've been 100,000, 200,000 years that our species have been alive, and we've only just figured out radio waves. Now put them, and then if we just say, the odds of life being on one planet per galaxy, right? Let's say one, and we all started to develop around about the same time, because the galaxies kind of came about the same time. One would say, but the nearest galaxy, and I just looked this up, is Canis Major Dwarf Galaxy, 25,000 light years away. So if they had discovered how to use radio waves and broadcast them in a way that we were only just essentially able to capture them, they've got like a window of maybe 2 generations, right? 2 or 3 generations for us to be able to capture that. In order to fix that, and it's only now, this last 50 years, that SETI has been using, or not even that, less than 20 years, that SETI's been using personal computers to help crunch some of the data as well. So the odds of us actually being able to track that down and get those radio waves and interpret them, really, 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 really slim. And considering how narrow that time scale is, and assuming, of course, they use radio waves, maybe they're using something else we don't know yet.
Something faster, yeah, exactly.
Or even slower tech, or maybe they haven't got Wi-Fi yet.
It's true.
Yeah, we come from Mars originally.
Closed circuits. Yeah, it could be closed circuit communications.
And we probably ruined Mars. Like that's the only thing about this pandemic thing. We probably ruined Mars, right? And we had to leave urgently. So we came to Earth and started killing dinosaurs, I guess. I don't know. I lost my train of thought.
Here's the interesting thing about that is even if Mars at some point had a magnetic field and a full atmosphere to protect it, we actually probably couldn't survive there because of its relative mass. It doesn't produce enough gravity. We would have for us to be in a form that we are now. That's why it's actually not a really good idea. This idea of colonizing Mars is just not a really good idea.
Don't crush the dream, man.
Nah, hey, there's an asterisk here. There's another side of it. Venus, actually, interestingly enough, is the one that we would probably want to, because Venus is about 80% the mass of Earth, which means its gravity is extremely similar, which means our bodies would adapt quicker. But the only problem with Venus is it had basically what we call a runaway greenhouse effect, and their atmosphere is full of carbon dioxide plus all the other pollutants that the active volcanoes have, and so it's basically an atmosphere of sulfurically charged acid rain clouds.
That's my favorite.
A very good place. So I wonder if we destroyed. If we're going to take your theory to the other side, I wonder if we started on Venus, wrecked Venus, and then came to Earth. What do you think?
I don't know, because there's the face on Mars, which kind of looks like there's probably a pyramid there. Not long ago, there was there's people who scrutinize all these photos taken by the lander, And not long ago, there was a one picture that came out, and I swear it looked like the bottom part of a bowl or something that had broken, like pottery or something, and you could see it there. I don't know. All kinds of stuff. Before we dismiss Mars, we have to go there and check out those things, the face there, and which is why I don't understand why they never sent the rovers to that location. Is it the terrain is too much?
Possibly. That's actually that looks like a monkey face, as I recall. Yeah, it's a massive structure, whether it's natural or not. It's huge, right? It's like a mountain,
monkey face.
Massive mountain. So,
well,
yeah,
I have it here. It was originally found in 1976 by the overhead probes. The thing is, most of the rovers are actually spent looking for liquid water. They're trying to put them down into areas where they have the ability to test soil and find liquid water. That's the whole Mars rover mission, because they want to see if there's a potential that there ever was life on Mars, and so you'd want to look for things like dried seabeds or places where you're more likely to have, even if it's just microscopic life, that still counts as life. Either it's still present or was present, so you'd be looking for things like fossilized remains, or if it's viable for colonization. So you can sort of kill two birds with one stone. If you have water, then you can do a lot. You can probably start to terraform. You can by introducing nutrients into the soil, right? So those are important things to search for. The phenomena of the face, whether that's a natural or is an artificial structure, is something that is probably worth studying, but we have to be able to survive there, and that's kind of more of a long-term, way down the line type of goal that we'd want to go to, right? So we have to be able to survive to explore, right? We can't just send to look.
I guess, I don't know.
I'm sorry, this is the very rational side of me. We've gone from laughing at silly children's books.
I still got that list.
Well, and you also got to survive when you get there too, right? Because the atmosphere is not breathable. It's actually going to.
We're talking about our individual UFO sightings or whatever. Something that had people a little crazy for a while before the story came out was I forget what they're called. You know, SpaceX is launching those suitcase-size satellites in groups of 60 or something, and eventually they're going to get to 42,000 of those things. And the whole, like before, when this first started, people were saying, what the hell are those lights in the sky? Because they move in a line, right? They're shot up into space and then they're deployed in a line that goes around the planet. And it's for, is it Elon Musk that owns that space?
I think it's Ernst Blofeld.
For his internet.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right, Mark. I think it's Blofeld who's got that particular project. I think Elon Musk and SpaceX have a similar thing. They want to do like a Star Wisp or something like that.
Try to take over the world.
Yeah, SpaceX, At first, they thought he would have like 12,000 to do his internet thing. And I guess they keep doing research all the time, I guess. And it was recently released that they need up to 42,000 of them. And the article was saying how that's going to effectively permanently change our starry night skies.
Well, there's that. It's not only just that. It's like you're also now introducing a number of things that are in orbit, which is basically free fall. So when it comes time for that to that orbit that's going to eventually decay, it's going to fall to Earth. Now, if you haven't already designed your satellite to break up and burn up in atmosphere, you now pose a problem, because now you've essentially got a meteorite that is coming in from at tremendous speeds and could be a huge danger to all inhabitants, depending on where it's going to come down. So if all that stuff is not properly calculated and assessed for, you have a disaster on your hand. And when you think about it, You know that meteor, what was it, about 2014, 2015, that kind of, it was in Russia. It was like, it was only like 2 meters across, which is not actually on that of a big deal for a satellite, right? Easily be 2 meters. And when it exploded, it was like a nuclear bomb that went off. So, there's a lot of things that we have to consider when it comes to like space and exploration and stuff like that. I find it absolutely fascinating, as obviously you can tell by some of the objections that I raise.
Yeah.
In kindness, Phil.
No.
Man.
Now, in all honesty, you've got this is probably the wrong show for this, I'm sure, two guys fixing the world. But when you've got a capitalist like Elon Musk, who seems like a nice guy, but is a guy born to money, that knows how to make money and is going to continue making more money. They're putting stuff up, communication satellites in the air. It's not going to be used for good things, and they're going to be using it to make more money. And the only reason that they make money is they try and cut their expenses and everything. So you can be sure that there's somewhere on those satellites that they've cut corners, and it may well be the mechanism that breaks them out, helps break them up when they fall to Earth. So
I think it's all mind blowing. Like who gave him permission to do that? How when they see a train of lights, next mission up there'll be another line, because they're trying to cover the whole globe, right? And who gave him permission to put 42,000 of these suitcase-sized things up there?
I don't know, but it was definitely, just from my point of view anyway, it definitely seemed like suddenly they were there. There was no public discussion that I could see anyway.
No, and during this pandemic, they've launched, I think, twice or 3 times.
Well, I mean, you're looking at a system that's getting set up so that, hey, great, we are going to have access to internet no matter where you are in the world. Wow, what a great thing. Well, the internet, if you're a complete blockhead and you have no idea what this fandangled thing that you're on right now watching this show about the internet is, let me inform you that the internet is full of wonderful and amazing and hilarious things, like people singing from their balconies and getting responses, and
Beatles
silly
cartoons.
children's book.
Beatles cartoons,
right? Yeah. But there's a dark side. There's lots of people who want to use the internet and its abilities to take your information, steal your money, lie about you, track you, access your webcam when you're not looking, and don't give permissions to. There's a huge dark side to all that. And guess what? At least half of those people that are willing to do bad things some of them are government organizations.
And let's not forget, that the internet in every house, or at least entertainment in every house, was a mainstay in Ingersoll. Winston Smith was being held captive by it. And I am, of course, talking about George Orwell's 1984. When you've got a handful of people controlling all the technology, it's never going to be used. It's never going to be used for the public good, particularly when the systems that set them up are not set up for the public good. They're set up for personal gain. Anyhow, I'm ranting again, as I usually do. It's just a couple of comments from Shalim here. He's asking, has anybody here seen Project Blue Book? Season 2 just ended.
No.
No, yeah, it's okay. So
I haven't watched that one.
Okay, so it's on it. The social it's on everybody's watch list, I guess. The closest Earth-like planet that could support life is 20 light years away. So Shalim was interested. He just saw a video yesterday. Just so anyone, that doesn't necessarily mean there's life on there, but it does make the odds of us seeing something from these planets a little more, a little smaller. And it's estimated that there are 10,000 billion like Earth-like inhabitable planets. And there's a TED talk there. He's mentioned in the comments there if you want to go check. But again, I still have that the argument that they're not all in this galaxy, and then they're going to be tens, at least 25,000 light years away plus, and many of them are going to be beyond the horizon. Their signals are never going to get to us. But anyhow, I think there's still a really good chance that there are aliens. Why? Again, the last comment there was why NASA didn't just send over a rover to look for water. Didn't only send the rover to look for water on Mars. I'm having trouble, aren't I? There were two reasons. One was the farthest Curiosity has driven in a day is about 150 meters. So even with no obstacles in the way and no traffic, it would have taken about a year for the rover to get there. That would be the big. We're talking about the face on Mars. Scientists have many other things they want to do with the rover besides sending it on a year-long drive. And the other reason, maybe a bit surprising, he says, the site where the water was found is off limits to Curiosity. Why? Because Curiosity may still be carrying some bacteria spores from Earth, and the last thing NASA wants is to seed Mars with Earth bacteria.
I say go.
Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff.
Get that time going, man.
There we go. So as ever, Shalim is the voice of reason amongst our insanity.
I just now sent out the link for the show to a band called the Secret Weasels. I know this is like turning the truck like 180, right?
Yep, that's good because we're about to close.
I wanted to acknowledge the Secret Weasels. They're from Minnesota, and they did send me their latest CD. I don't know if you can read that.
Misophonia.
Yeah. And that's not the end of it. They even mentioned me inside here when they say special thanks to people there. And there's my name and the show name. That's pretty cool, man. And I appreciate that from these guys. I love playing their music. What happened there?
I don't know, but someone called Thomas Edenroth is trying to join the show. I don't know who that is, so I'm going to deny entry.
Oh, he might be from the Secret Weasels.
Did you send it to him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you what, I'll kick him off.
Hey.
We'll find out who this is. Oh.
Who's?
Oh, he joined twice.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Phil?
Pretty good. How's Minnesota today?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's about 72 degrees out. I was actually in the middle of, I had a window I needed to fix. I live in a rather old house, and you know how I don't know if you've lived in old houses, but they have a counterweight in the windowsill. Mm-hmm. And if they break, there's a little rope that holds the counterweight, and if they break, then the window doesn't slide up properly.
Right.
So
this is Thomas from
Thomas.
part of the Secret Weasels.
Hey, Thomas, nice to meet you.
And I was just showing everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And that I have my name mentioned inside yet.
Yep.
I mean, I'm a weasel head, that's for sure. I love their sound.
Thank you.
I'm not sure how else to invite you to see if you wanted to be on the show. So I thought I'll send him a link now and say thank you for the CD, and maybe
you're
we
welcome.
can have you guys on.
Oh yeah, that would be great. I'll have, if you give us a little more advance notice, I can give you Matt's Facebook message thing, or you could invite us both on.
Right, that's what we'd do. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that'd be great. Sure, we'd love to be on your show. Yeah, that would be awesome.
That sounds perfect. I think we're probably we're well over the hour now, hour and 10. So what we'll do is we've got one video I just want to play before we go, and if you want to hang around, Thomas, we'll talk after the show and we can maybe set something up.
Sure.
Sounds good. So why don't we just go ahead and we'll go back to the theater, and then we'll play. We actually have the Beatles. Ryan and I played with the Beatles about 5 years ago on stage, and they backed us up. Yes, this is real, he says. Here we go. They're playing Flesh and Blood, and they are backing Ryan and I up. Here we go. We've asked us all in the mind to join us on stage for the last song. Everyone clap your hands. Those of you in the balcony, sit down. We've locked the bloody doors. Pocket a dozen ways to talk it. You might mock it, but it's style. In a minute I could tweet you, but I doubt I'll ever meet you. More likely just to leave me like a file. Why can't I tell him? Why can't I tell if you are real? Well, that's the end of the show. A big thank you to the Beatles and to everyone who worked hard behind the scenes. Join us next time to see who It's All in the Mind opens for. Good night.
Good night.
There you go. That was a lot of fun. They were such great guys too, weren't they, Ryan? Okay, well,
I think Mark, you do the cartoons, right? You
I
put
do
those
the
together.
animations. Yeah, I've been doing it. I was watching that as I was getting ready for the show, and just how horrible the animation was. I can do so much better now. It's like 5 years ago or more. Anywho, all right. So I think that we can probably end the show there. It's like been on for about almost an hour 15. So thanks everybody for joining us, the usual audience, and especially for Shalim for being a big part of the show as usual. You can check out all the past shows and future shows on theinvisibleman.ca. It's been on the screen the whole time. Phil, where can people get hold of you?
Well, I just wanted to say you're welcome for my book review today. I do recommend Brent a Barber. It's up on my personal page. Anybody wants to see that? It's about 3 minutes and it's super hilarious. But no, on the serious side of music, independent music, catch the Colorado Phil Show Mondays through Fridays, 12 to 4 p.m. Pacific, 1 to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time here in Colorado, 2 to 6 p.m. Central in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and possibly in Minnesota too, and 2 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's on one station, VW Radio. So you go and you listen at www.vwradio.co. While you're at the website, you can download the listener app for Android or iPhone. And check out my page too. Under the shows tab, click on the Colorado Phil Show, and you'll see all my social media links there and the 8 podcast listening platforms where the show is available. That's at www.vwradio.co. Go to the shows tab, click the Colorado Phil Show.
Oh, and one more time, don't forget my new children's book, A Fighting Stance, available on Lulu. Easiest way to get there is books.mdstallard, my last name, .com. Thanks a lot. Put the plug in there. Going to sell some books. Anyhow, any last words, Ryan?
Well, at least that children's book is actually a book you could read to your children.
That's a real book.
So's the other one.
Actually read that one to your kids. But yeah, no, it's been wonderful. It's a nice little sidestep. We did get some music in. We've covered a lot of ground, from balcony singing to dirty children's books, all the way up to aliens and faces on Mars. It's been a blast, guys. I really enjoyed the show.
Thank you much, everybody, and we'll see you all next week about the same time. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Right.
Oh, the invisible